Today I'm going to show you how working a half double crochet in the rounds can have different looks, all depending on where you place your stitches. So I have 4 samples here, and each of them have been crocheted in a different way. Looking up closely, this one right here has been crocheted in the traditional method. You are just working through both of the loops as you work, and this is kind of what you're probably most familiar with seeing. Then we have another common one is working in the back bar of a stitch. This is also known as the camel stitch, but a lot of times you'll just see it as working in the back bar. When you crochet this technique, it looks like you have braids running around in circles around your crochet piece. This is a very, very common technique used to make a little bit of a ridge in your crochet work. So we have a traditional half double crochet, crocheting in the back bar or the camel stitch, and the next two actually have a similar look, but I will show you the difference in how they're crocheted and how it will be resulted. So this one is worked in the back loop only of your crochet piece. If you can see, you have like a line that runs through your crochet piece. So this is working in the back loop only, and it looks very familiar or very similar to this piece, which is also crocheted in the back loop. But this one, not only do you do the back loop, but you also grab the back bar as you're crocheting. So just to kind of go over this, I've explained it, but I do want to show you what I am referring to when I'm showing or talking about the differences in the half double crochet and the rounds. So this is going to be your traditional method. This is just a simple square worked in the, simple circle worked in the rounds. So to work in the rounds of in half double crochet, you're going to work through both loops of the stitches. So let me get that first. The first one's always kind of a little bit tricky. So working through both loops, if you look at the top of your stitches, you have a front loop right here and a back loop. So here, you front loop and a back loop. So if I put my hook, I'm gonna put my hook through this so you can see it. So here's the 2 loops. Here's your front part and your back loop. So on a traditional half double crochet, you're gonna yarn over and put your crochet hook through both of those loops and complete your half double crochet. Again, this is traditional, nothing secret or tricky about this. This is just a traditional half double crochet in the rounds. And as you can see, it just creates a nice traditional look to your crochet round. Okay, so now I'm going to go through the back bar of the crochet stitch from the row below. So these are all half double crochets, and again, this one's going to create these ridges, these raised ridges. They almost look like braids if you look up close. And it's basically what it's doing is it's turning the entire top of your stitch. So here's the stitches. It's actually like pushing those in, and you're grabbing the back bar of the stitch here. So if you look at your half double crochet again, here is the top of your stitch. You have a front loop and a back loop. And then if you rotate, so I'm gonna put my hand on the back loop and pull that forward. On the back, there's this little ridge right here. That's called the back bar, and that's what you're gonna grab and crochet through. So you're gonna yarn over for your half double crochet. Instead of going through the traditional location, you're gonna push those both forward, and on the back of your work, you can see that back bar right there, and you're just gonna put your hook right through there and complete your half double crochet. So yarn over. Usually if you just slide your hook right behind that stitch, you grab that bar right there. So yarn over through that back bar. And as you can see, as you pull that stitch up, or actually even as you place your hook in there, you can see that it's just taking that front or the top of the stitch and folding it over. And that is actually what creates this braided ridge in your crochet. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to work in the or crochet in the back loop of a stitch. So this can actually be done with any stitches, not just half double crochets. But for the purpose of the next stitch, I want to show you how it's worked on a half double crochet. So again, hang on, let me grab this first stitch just because it's a little trickier to see. Okay, so working in the back bar, as I've shown you, the tops of the stitches have these two pieces of yarn, front loop and a back loop. You're going to work through just the back loop. And that's what's going to create the lines that walk or go around your crochet piece. So yarn over, insert only in that back loop. So see, the front loop is still visible, and finish your half double crochet. Insert in the back loop only. And again, you're just creating this line or ridge as you crochet. So you can see these lines throughout your work right here. But as you can see, as I crochet it, I am kind of pulling up on that loop as I crochet it, and that is what's creating those holes or the looser fabric. So again, some projects you might want that looser fabric, and that's totally fine. But that is working in the back loop only of a half double crochet. Okay, so once again, this looks just like the last one, how it has just the small little ridges running around the crochet piece. These are worked in half double crochets. To do this, you have to have a half double crochet in the row before. So on this one, you're not going to grab just the back loop. You're going to grab the back loop and the back bar and work through both of those pieces. So here is the back loop. Okay, so here's the stitch. We're going to ignore this front loop, grab that back loop only, rotate our work to the back side, and there is the back bar. So you're going to grab both of those loops. This is what it will look like on your hook. But from the front, it's almost like you're going down into the stitch. So we're going to yarn over, insert in the back loop and the back bar, and complete your half double crochet. Yarn over, insert in the back loop and the back bar, and double crochet. The back loop and the back bar. Once you get to do a few of these, it's easy to just slide your hook straight down the stitch, and you easily grab both of those loops. And once again, this creates that nice clean ridge running around your crochet piece, but it gives you a little bit more of a sturdy fabric. I like to use this technique in hats because as you're putting the hats on, you're kind of pulling the crochet piece down. And if you use this, you don't get that big gap between the rows. See, as you do with just working in the back loop. The main reason I prefer this method is because it makes a nice sturdy fabric. If you look at this crochet piece that is crocheted in just the back loop only, you get the exact same lines through your crochet. However, if there's any stretch or movement in your crochet piece, see the big holes that are created? And that is just because you're only grabbing that back loop of the crochet piece, and so it's just not as sturdy or firm as of a fabric. So depending on what project you're working on, this could be a great technique. The other difference is the back of your crochet work. If you look at the back of this one, this is worked in the back loop only. You get these ridges around the back side, which sometimes that's totally fine. It's kind of a unique, kind of fun look. So if you have a two-sided crochet piece, you may prefer this method. Whereas crocheting this one, you're going to get more of the same look as when you work crochet just the back loop only. As you can see, those kind of have a almost like a knit or woven look to them. So totally different. Now I'm going to go over, however, this one, if you pull, you don't get those giant gaps, or if you get a gap, it's going to be an even gap throughout the whole piece of your crochet work. So it just makes a nice firmer fabric with the same look of just the single line instead of the braids running through your pieces.